Happy Halloween, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of If You Haven't, You Should. I am the Middle Management Commando, or rather, I'm an 8-year-old boy from the 80s playing Commando, and that is our game of the evening. So here are some reasons if you haven't played Commando, you should. First reason you should give it a go is this is the forefather of most modern shooters. There were a couple of other that were released before, but this is the one that I remember the most. Not quite as popular as Contra, which came out a year later, but when I felt the call of duty, this was my battlefield. Basically, you play as Super Joe, and you take the battlefield. You have your machine gun and your hand grenades. You have a limited supply of hand grenades, and they only travel forward. The machine gun has 8 directional aiming, so whichever direction you are moving, that is the direction you are firing. Number 2 reason to play the game is its epic difficulty level. Now, there are a total of 16 stages. You play through 1-1, 1-2, 1-3, and 1-4, and then the game repeats 2-2, 2-3, etc., and so forth, until you get to the end and you get a special message and the game is over. As you're playing through the game, there's grenades, enemies coming at you. If you move too close to the edge of the screen, the enemies can come right on and hit you. It's very difficult. Also, with the graphics of the game, things are flashing on the screen, so enemies can disappear, but they might not necessarily be gone, and the bullets might not necessarily be gone, but they're invisible to you on the screen. The movement is also locked to the aiming, so whichever direction you're moving is where you're firing. So dodging enemies and bullets as they're coming at you makes it very hard to aim at the enemies at the same time. My thumb is wore out, and this was only a 12-minute video. At the end of each stage, you're greeted with a gate that you must fight your way through. In this situation, it's a ballistic soldier with a shield that you can't hit with regular bullets. You have to throw a grenade and a bunch of foot soldiers. And as you kill them all, you get to proceed through the gate. Sometimes there's a commander in green that if you kill him, you get extra points. And each gate gives you a little cutscene with your commando, Super Joe. In this situation, he's eating rations. And then you proceed to the next stage. The stages vary a little bit. Sometimes you're just traveling through the jungle. Sometimes it's like a kind of a desert area. This appears to be a rocky terrain where there's foxholes. The soldiers down the foxholes duck, so you can't hit them with bullets while they're ducking, but you can throw grenades at them. Falling into foxholes will kill Super Joe, as will getting run down by the jeeps and the motorcycles that run across the stage. What makes this stage hard is with the foxholes, sometimes you have to go near the edges of the stage, and the enemies will run out and kill you. They just spawn on the edges of the screen. There's also new enemies introduced here. There's pillboxes with machine gun turrets in it, constantly shooting at you. And they put on the edge of the screen these POWs that you have to rescue. I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but picking up the little white boxes that are on the ground is how you replenish your grenades. Currently, I have 21 grenades, so I haven't been using them regularly, but there are situations where if you don't have a grenade, you can get killed. If you find yourself in a trap room without any grenades, it's hard to open up the trap door and get out of it before the gas will kill you. The boss fights do get a little more difficult as you go through. I died right there, right before the boss fight would start. Those little caves on the side in this mountainous area, the soldiers constantly run out of. And they don't actually come through the gate so much as they do from the sides. As you're trying to pay attention to the ballistic shield soldier at the top of the screen, the soldiers are coming at you from all sides trying to kill you. And as we proceed through this gate, we see Super Joe smoking a cigarette. You don't see that very often in video games anymore, do ya? Number 3 reason to play Commando. Difficult, yet simple. And what I mean by that is, this game is one that teaches you to move forward. That's your only goal. Move forward. You gotta get to the end. And in order to do that, you have to hone your reaction time and your dexterity. They're going to throw every enemy they can at you, and they're going to move them around and combine them in such a way that if you're not thinking and moving and adapting, you're going to get killed. And if your hands aren't up to snuff, if you get a thumb cramp, it's all over. And just because I think the game is simple, that doesn't mean I don't think it's fun. There are mechanics added into the game to keep it interesting. You can bring another player in to play with you, although not at the same time. You alternate as you play. There's a score system, so one of you can see who's better at scoring, who's killing more enemies and proceeding forward and collecting more power-ups. I enjoyed playing this. I didn't originally own this game. My buddy Lee had it, and I used to go over and play with him all the time, and we enjoyed the holy heck out of it. I only recently purchased my own copy of the game. I picked it up at my new favorite retro store in Chester. That's The Link to the Past. They have quite a good selection. I hope to go back and pick up some more well-priced items so I can share them with you. But it made me very nostalgic. I saw it and I had to grab it because it made me think of all the times I had played with my buddies and enjoyed playing it. So I think if you give it a go, you'll enjoy it too. Reason number 4 to play the game is storyline. So an interesting thing about the game is I didn't have the book when I first started playing it because my buddy had it. So I wasn't familiar with Super Joe and his backstory, so I would just make up my own story as I saw fit. There's nobody to tell me differently, and it's one of the things I enjoyed about it. Sometimes I'd want to be Rambo, sometimes I want to be Arnold's character from Commando, which came out in 1985, so I had seen it by the time I played this in 87, 88. So it was fun to kind of pick and choose the story that I wanted, which is one of the cool things about playing simpler games like this, where the storyline isn't bludgeoned over your head. But the true storyline, again, follows Super Joe, and he is the wolf of the battlefield and appeared in several other Commando games, and then later he would appear in Bionic Commando, and continued to appear in Bionic Commando even after Spencer took over and had to come through and rescue him. So pretty interesting, long-living storyline and legacy that came from this game. Reason number 5 is secret passageways. So there's all sorts of hidden secrets in Commando, and the only way to find them is through trial and error. Once you know where they're at, they'll always appear there, but you have to land the grenade on top of the secrets just perfectly to unlock them. So as you can see, I proceeded down the ladder into this subterranean lair and was greeted by these 4 soldiers and this flashing item right here. I think it's a data receiver or a video cassette with secret information. But anyway, it's worth 10,000 points. And if you're playing with a friend, those 10,000 points will make the difference between having the high score and being number 2. So when you go into a secret level, it'll actually sometimes place you ahead when you come out, or sometimes behind when you come out the ladder. So you can go into the secret level over and over again if you want, but normally the bonuses aren't there as you go through a second time. There are several different types of hidden areas. They're all subterranean like that. Sometimes there will be enemies in there. Sometimes there will be POWs. And in this case, as I proceed in there, there's this empty room. And in the next empty room is a room filled with dozers. If you're familiar with Battlefield, when I first started playing the new Battlefield game, this character, dozer of theirs, who carries around a ballistic shield, this is what it reminded me of. I know they were kind of trying to get on the bandwagon of the ballistic shield characters from the Call of Duty series, and a lot of people thought that was fun. So if you play as Espinosa the Doza, this guy right here, that's what that reminded me of. As you can see, this room is a trap. If you stay in this room for a long period of time, you will die. There is no timer. You have to find the hidden passageway by throwing grenades. You can see my grenades are slowly dwindling here, and I have not found the secret passageway, which means it's not in this room. It could be in the room you started in. This trap room can cause death if you're not careful, and in my situation, I find the secret passageway, but I don't make it in time and I die. You see the secret passage appear just as my grenade exploded. Because this is a sequential game playthrough, I won't get to demonstrate all of the power-ups, so I'll leave you to find those on your own. There's normally 2 or 3 per stage. Most of them are found by throwing grenades, although in certain stages you can enter the huts or the barracks and find some of the hidden bases there. There's also super power-ups for Super Joe. The super grenade, which will decimate everybody on the screen, the radio transceiver, which will also kill everybody on the screen when you pick it up, and super machine gun power-ups, which make your machine gun fire faster and larger bullets. This is the final base of the game. There are the 3 snipers in the window. They are not requirements for beating this stage. You just have to kill all of the enemies who run out. And then Super Joe will proceed into the base, where he will set off some C4 charges and destroy the base so that they can no longer use it. So congratulations, you have completed the first mission. This isn't the end of the game. No, Super Joe calls in his evac helicopter and it'll fly him to the next world, World 2-1. However, I didn't film footage of the rest of it because the worlds are the same moving forward. The only difference is the enemies move faster, the bullets fly faster, and there's more of them. So if you're able to get to World 4-4 and beat it, you truly are Super Joe and the Super Commando. I hope you've enjoyed my videos, and again, if you haven't played Commando, you should. So special shout out to The Link to the Past, my new favorite retro shop. Having this game on hand and allowing me to purchase it allowed me to share this wonderful video with you, and I look forward to doing that again in the future. Also, a shout out to my wife who informed me that my Commando costume actually made me look more like Corey Feldman's character, one of the Frog brothers from Lost Boys. If you haven't seen that movie, it's a wonderfully fun vampire film from the 80s. Thanks again for joining me, and I hope you'll have a happy Halloween. If you haven't already, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. I release content weekly, so getting that notification will let you know when I've released a new video for you to enjoy. Once again, happy Halloween, and good night.